guys, welcome to our lesson today on nonfiction forms. We are going to be looking at some different things that show us information. Nonfiction means it's not fake, it is real. So it's giving us real information. And some of the things we're going to look at, this first one is a magazine. Okay, magazines have different things in them. They have what's called a table of contents, they have recipes, and there's articles in them. And just like we've been writing in our how to writings, recipes tell you how to make a certain type of food. So I'm going to show you a magazine that has recipes in it. So here is a magazine, and it shows me a recipe down here. There's a recipe for a special pesto dip right over here. Over here, there's a special pesto dip, pea pesto dip. And so it gives me the directions on how to make it. So just like how you were writing about how to do a science experiment, they're telling you how to make a certain type of food in a recipe. So this is a magazine. It does have recipes in it, just like on your screen. It says Nonfiction Forms. Magazines have recipes. They also have articles. So there's some things in here about articles that gives you different information. Like here's some cool things you can do with toothpicks. So it's an article about toothpicks. It also states that there is a table of contents, which all of these are different text features. So here's my table of contents and it even says contents at the top, a table of contents for my magazine. So magazines have recipes, they have table of contents, they also have articles, and all sorts of fun things inside of magazine. You also have things that are like newspapers, which a lot of people don't get a newspaper anymore. That's not something that most people get nowadays, but you can still get a newspaper. And on a newspaper, it has a title, has different articles just like in a magazine. It also has a front page, and then it has inside pages as well. Something else I was going to show you is a recipe book. So a recipe book also has recipes that tell you how to make different types of food. And it also has a table of contents too. So I'll show you table of contents in here. There's my table of contents. It tells you where the different types of food are that you can find in the recipe book. Then you can turn to one of the recipes that you want to make. And a lot of times it has a picture, using a picture for a non-text feature. Also has a title of the recipe, ingredients, and then it tells you how to make that food. So recipe books are awesome for cooking. You can also look at things on the internet, online magazines and newspapers. They have electronic menus that have the same kind of non-text features, nonfiction text features, like photographs and diagrams and text, an electronic menu. Let me show you an example of one of these. Here we are at National Geographic Kids. So it has a menu. Here's basically their table of contents, essentially online, games, videos, animals, explore, subscribe. You are able to go on and research different information. So if I clicked on science, then let's see what happens. It's loading. So here's the science lab. It says there's experiments, videos, articles, and more. So it has articles too, just like the magazine. You can go online and see these things as well. So, you're able to get lots of information, even online, using different websites that have even magazines, or they're just give you lots of good information like the National Geographic Kids. So what I want you to do is I want you to either find a magazine in your house that has nonfiction text, or maybe a recipe book, cookbook, or maybe you have a newspaper. I want you to go and learn something from it. Take a picture with it, send it to your teacher, and tell them what you learned from one of those types of nonfiction text, okay? One of those nonfiction texts, the nonfiction forms from a magazine, a newspaper, or online magazines and newspapers, where you can get information, where it has a table of contents, titles, recipes, articles. Take a picture with one of those things and tell us what you learned. All right, guys, I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Bye.